Zandile Mayeza is standing by to give us a wrap of the day's proceedings at the World Tobacco Conference. And as we link to her, Zandile, so far, what has been discussed?
Quite a lot of significant things have been coming out of the conference so far. Earlier this morning, we saw the launch of the Global Tobacco Atlas. And this was important because it gave us a scale of the global tobacco impact, and we're able to see just how big this tobacco problem is. In fact, we learned that over 7 million people die annually due to tobacco. But some of the bigger things that happened this afternoon was the issue around vaping and e-cigarettes versus non-smoking altogether. In fact, it was quite interesting when we're speaking to a vaping organization earlier here with the SABC crew. A commotion ensued between a vaping organization and an anti-smoking organization. It was quite heated, and this gave us a clear indication and reflection of this very controversial debate, where the one side of the coin is that smoking is bad for you and we should stop smoking, and the other debate is that actually there are other alternatives to smoking. And to talk to us a little bit more about this controversial global debate that has been quite heated here at the conference, I've got with me Clive Bates, who is the former head of UK's biggest anti-tobacco smoking. Clive, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You are pro-vaping. Why pro-vaping versus mainstream smoking?
I am pro-vaping for public health reasons. We don't know exactly how much less risky vaping is than smoking, but the Royal College of Physicians and Public Health England, the two biggest agencies in the UK, say at least 95% less risky than smoking. So 95% less risk of cancer, heart disease, respiratory illnesses and so on. And that's a huge potential gain. When somebody switches from smoking to vaping, their risks go right down, their welfare goes right up, they save money. It's a fantastic outcome for them. And, you know, if we can get people to switch, there's a great public health win that we can get from that. So it's got to the point now where the British government is so enthusiastic about this, it's actually advertising e-cigarettes and vaping on television to persuade smokers to switch in order for them to quit smoking, get the public health benefits.
Clive, you know, the tension between vaping, e-cigarettes versus non-smoking organizations has been quite heated here at the conference. In fact, earlier this afternoon at a press conference against vaping and e-cigarettes, one of the vaping organizations got kicked out of the conference. I mean, what are your reactions to not just that incident, but the debate that is currently underway on the issue of vaping and e-cigarettes versus non-smoking altogether? What are your reactions to that?
That's a really good question. I'm amazed that they don't want to have the debate and that they want to shut this out rather than engage with it. I mean, that's a bit of a failing of the conference here, to be honest. They should be running at the debate, not running away from it. It is controversial, but my impression from the sessions here at this conference here in Cape Town is that the tide is turning and people are starting to see the advantages. I mean, in Britain, United States, we're seeing really rapid declines in smoking now, both in the adult population and the teenage population of smokers. And that's a really good thing, and you can't hide from that data. So people are starting to have to acknowledge that now and start to come to terms with the fact that something is working and it's working well, even if they feel uncomfortable about it. So I think we should have the debate. I think our side, the pro-vaping side, is making progress because the data, the facts, the evidence are on our side. They're telling a good story about how vaping is displacing smoking, and in doing so is giving a huge public health benefit. And it's something to encourage and see as an opportunity rather than something to prohibit or prevent and see as a threat.
So, Clive, what are your views? Can smoking really end? Can we end the tobacco debate? What's the way forward now on this debate?
That is the big question, and that's the question that hangs over this entire conference. I am convinced that we will see the end of smoking. We will see at the moment the way smoke is created is to set fire to tobacco and breathe in the smoke, and it's the particles of smoke and toxic gases from burning tobacco that do almost all of the harm to the body, to the lungs, to the circulation, to the brain, everything. If you can heat a liquid, an inert liquid with electrical heat from a battery, then you don't get the products of combustion. And we've got to the point now where the batteries are powerful enough and small enough that you can heat enough liquid to a high enough temperature to deliver a reasonable alternative to smoking. And that's something that's only going to progress in future. So if we try to imagine the vaping products that will be on the market in 2030 and 2040, they'll be as different again as they are today compared to 2010. And that technology, I think it will be like the obsolescence of an old technology. It will be like it will be like vinyl records or something like that. We'll go to fully digital, and it's because we have a superior technology now. We have a superior way of creating something you can inhale and take nicotine with. Now, I still think people shouldn't take nicotine. They should, quit if they can. But if it's not doing them any harm, it doesn't matter. It's like we don't make a big fuss about caffeine, even though it's a stimulant drug. And the reason we don't is that it doesn't do as much harm. And I think in the end, we'll get to that position with nicotine. And once we've got rid of the smoke, it doesn't really matter about the nicotine.
Well, it will be very interesting to see how this ongoing debate ends, because tobacco causes disease in the lives of real people, and that's something that either side of the coin have to remember. But for now, it's back to you in studio.